Hello, and welcome back. We're going to talk a little bit about how prokaryotic cells are going to undergo cell division, all right? And what we're going to talk about here, all right, essentially, we are making a genetically identical cell, all right? With prokaryotic cell division, and when we talk about eukaryotic cell division, when we talk about mitosis specifically, okay? Prokaryotic cell division, we don't call prokaryotic cell division mitosis. It has a separate name. It's called binary fission, all right? And essentially what we've got here, and we're talking about binary fission, or if we're talking about mitosis, we're talking about making that genetically identical cell, okay? And in terms of cell division, like is going to beget like, okay? So cells have to come from other cells, all right? And that prokaryotic cell, when it replicates, it's not going to give rise to a eukaryotic cell. Okay, it's going to give rise to another prokaryotic cell. Likewise with the eukaryotic cell, whatever cell happens to divide, it's going to give rise to another cell that's like it, the cell that it originated as. Okay, so with prokaryotic binary fission, okay, we have one parent. All right. When we talk about eukaryotic reproduction, when we talk about meiosis, we're going to have two parents, okay? So keep that in mind, all right? With prokaryotic cell division or binary fission, this is going to be our prokaryotic cell, all right? Inside of the prokaryotic cell, we're going to have the DNA, all right, or the chromosome. What's going to happen, all right, that prokaryotic binary fission is a type of asexual reproduction, okay? With asexual reproduction, you've got one parent, okay? With meiosis and two parents, this is going to be sexual reproduction. And one of the advantages that that sexual reproduction is going to have is you're going to have a lot more variability that's introduced into the offspring, which increases the likelihood of survival, all right? With asexual reproduction, with binary fission and mitosis, the chance of something going wrong or giving rise to offspring that have mutations is going to be greater, all right? So with our prokaryotic cell, let me getting ahead of myself a little bit here, okay? What's going to happen, okay, is that chromosome, we'll draw that in again, is going to replicate itself, okay? So it's going to make a copy. We'll call this the new DNA. Replicate, okay? Once that DNA has been replicated, what'll happen is that DNA, the two strands of DNA, will kind of be partitioned off, each to one side of the prokaryotic cell, okay? So we undergo DNA replication. we're going to get separation of the DNA strands. Okay, and when I say separation here, I'm not meaning pulling apart the DNA double helix, all right, because prokaryotic DNA also exists as a double helix. The double helix is intact. What separates are the two copies of the chromosomes, okay? All right, and essentially what's going to happen next, I'm going to move over here because this is too short, you won't see it down here, all right? We've got our prokaryotic cell and our squeaky marker. We've got the DNA here. We've got the DNA here. It's also worth me mentioning that each of these would be, have undergone semi-conservative DNA replication, meaning you're going to have one parental strand, one new strand, one parental strand, one new strand. I have the chromosomes different colors so you can see that the chromosomes move different places, okay? What's going to happen with binary fission is that cell is going to start to pinch apart, okay? And what we get there, it's one of the fun words to use in science, all right? We've got a cleavage furrow that happens, okay? So we separate those two, all right? And then what happens, no extra charge for the squeakiness. There we go. What we're going to end up with at the end are two genetically identical cells, okay? So with that process of binary fission, it's relatively simple to talk about in prokaryotic cells. Now, one of the caveats that you've got with prokaryotic cells is you not only have a cell membrane, but you also have a cell wall, okay? So this is going to be the cell membrane. Membrane's always on the inside. This is going to be the cell wall. When you undergo that process of binary fission or dividing that cell in half, you're not only going to have to divide the membrane, but you've also got to divide the cell wall, okay? So we'll just draw that in like that, all right? So with binary fission, you're going to get separation of both the cell membrane and the cell wall, okay? So what we've got here and what we refer to when we're talking about cell division, the genetically identical cells are called daughter cells, okay? This would be our parental cell up here. The reason you don't have a parent and an offspring is because these are genetically identical and because the DNA replication was semi-conservative. So each of these, in the end, is going to have a copy of the parental and the new strand of DNA, okay, because of semi-conservative replication. Because the replication there is semi-conservative, that's why we refer to these as daughter cells, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions, please let me know, okay? Next video, I'm going to cover what happens with mitosis in eukaryotic cells.